In this video, we're going to get into the San Diego real estate market trends where homes are sitting a little bit longer and home sellers are reducing their prices more than they did last year. And as high interest rates and high listing prices are deterring some potential buyers, there's some big changes that we're keeping an eye on that are important for buyers and sellers to understand. So we'll jump into the number of homes that have had a price reduction here in San Diego and how that compares to the last few years. We're also going to jump into the number of homes that were pulled off the market, compare that to last year. That number is actually quite large. And number three, we're going to answer the question, do upgrades or certain remodels increase the price of your home? Or can you over customize a home? And how does that affect the selling price? And what's the best strategy when you do sell your home? So let's get into all that right now. So in September, 34% of homes did see a price reduction. Now, compared to last year, yeah, it's a little bit up. Compared to 2022, it's quite a bit down. 2022, I think we peaked out somewhere around 40% of homes did see a price reduction at a specific point, not necessarily at the beginning of the year, but towards the point when interest rates did rise rapidly. Now, compare that to, 2021, it's above that. But if we go back to a normalized year of 2019, it's kind of on par right there, where we see about a third of homes right here in San Diego with a price reduction. But since we have been in this market over these past few years where a seller would put their home on the market and it would instantly sell that first weekend, you wouldn't have to see any price reduction. You barely have any market time. But with interest rates fluctuating wildly over these past few weeks, where we did get down to like 6.14, now we're a little bit above 7% within a few weeks time. That is having potential buyers sit on the sideline, not necessarily jump into the market. Typically this time of year anyways, we see less buyers in the market and price reductions could be right about where they are. So not terribly out of the norm compared to previous years. But when interest rates do fluctuate by a large amount very quickly, that's when we see a lot of buyers sit on the sidelines, whether it's one way or the other. If rates are coming down like super fast, like they did go from 6.75, 6.5 to under 6.25. At that point, a lot of buyers are like, well, why don't we just wait until they keep going down? And then on the flip side of that, when rates are going up, you're not necessarily wanting to jump in the market. You're like, well, let's wait till they stop and then we might make the home purchase. Now, I'm not saying that all buyers are like that. There's still buyers out there. We're still working with clients out there who are in the market. But compared to like a stabilized market where mortgage rates might jump a little bit, but not like a ton per day or a ton per week, then buyers are a little more comfortable with that. So that's part of the reason why we have seen these price reductions, is because there's less buyers out there, partially due to where the interest rates are, partially due to where home prices are as well. But with all that, also homes are taking a little bit longer to sell. So I'm going to bring up this chart real quick from Reports on Housing. Now they're comparing last year's days on market to this year's days on market in all of these different price ranges. We'll just jump into the 1 million to 1.25 million. Last year's days on market was about 52 days on market. This year, it's sitting about 71 days on market. Now, I don't know exactly where they pulled these numbers from, but when I'm looking at my numbers, now the trends are the same, but the days on market are a little bit different. When I ran the numbers for September here in San Diego County, the average days on market was about 27 days compared to about 21 days last year. So still about 29% higher than last year, but these days on market, maybe it's from when they actually closed. I'm not sure exactly, but either way, the trends are relatively the same, where we're seeing longer days on market compared to last year. And when we're chatting with sellers, I think it's really important to have the conversation when we help people sell their home. We don't set the list price. I mean, we run our comparables where we show them everything that has sold, everything that's active, everything that's pending, everything that's potentially coming up. We've seen a lot of the homes in that neighborhood. We know the locations are all a little different. We know the conditions are all a little different. So we provide our sellers with all of that information, plus what's happening in their local market. Are their market times a little bit longer? Because the market numbers that I'm talking about are all of San Diego County. Once you dive into a specific neighborhood, a specific location, it could be a little bit different. But after that initial conversation and let them know all the information we have, they're doing their research as well. They want to list their price, and maybe it's a little bit higher than we would expect it to sell for. Obviously, the market is going to tell us what it's worth anyways, but we like to have the conversation. Okay, if the average market time in this neighborhood is about 30 days, once we get to a specific time, maybe we'll have the conversation. All right, here's where we're at. Here's the number of offers we've had. Here's the number of showings we had. Here's where we're at. Here's where the other homes are selling, if there's any updates to that, and let them know okay, maybe it's time to make a price adjustment at that point. But have that conversation ahead of time so we don't just jump in there and like, all right, it's 30 days, we need to cut the price. No, it's more of a strategy. We'll help you list it and sell it and market it as much as we can, but ultimately the market will tell us what the price of the home is going to be. The next number that we're going to jump into is the number of homes that were pulled off of the market in September compared to last year. So here in San Diego, there was 7,000 homes pulled off the market for a variety of reasons. They didn't go into that in the report. But compared to last year, there's about 3,500 homes pulled off the market. So double the number of homes that we did see the prior year. And according to this report, it wasn't due to sellers deciding, I just don't want to sell anymore. It was more because they couldn't find a buyer at their price point. So they took it off the market. And just to compare it to one other city, so they compared it to Orange County. Now, San Diego saw a 100% increase in this number compared to last year. Orange County only saw a 21% increase. So they saw a few more homes be pulled off the market, but not as many as we did see here in San Diego. Now, I would assume going into next year, a lot of these homes will likely come back on the market, not in 2024, but maybe in a little bit more of that traditional selling time here in San Diego as we ramp up into the early part of the year into spring. When we do see more buyers out there, sellers might want to maybe fix up a few things in their house, jump in there, maybe do a few other things. Now, when we're chatting with clients about upgrades, which we'll get into here in a little bit, and do they make sense or can you over customize and still get top dollar? It really depends. But when we are chatting with clients as far as getting the house ready, nobody wants to do remodels in their house. Now, some of these people, like I know of a specific situation right in my neighborhood where they had their home for sale. It was at the top end of the market. It didn't sell. It got reduced a little bit, got reduced a little bit more. They decided to take the home off the market. They are going to do a few upgrades in there, bathrooms and a few other things, put the home back on the market because they have a number in their mind where they want to hit. So they're going to retry that when we do have that traditional selling season, when you traditionally get a little bit more money for your house here in San Diego. But now jumping into that third point, do those upgrades make sense? Whether you're putting your home back on the market or before you even decide to sell, when you're having those initial consultations and figuring out, okay, I do want to sell, here's our price, can we get that? As we're going through those conversations with clients, we're going over, okay, like honestly, nobody wants to do much with their house because it's a pain in the butt. It takes time, it takes money. Now, if you want to get top dollar, there's certain things you can do, but it doesn't necessarily have to be done, but just keep in mind the pricing strategy when you do go that route. Like when we go into a house, like a lot of times staging is a must, but not necessarily in the way that you're thinking. Like staging, you don't necessarily have to have stagers come in, move out your furniture, move in their furniture. A lot of times it could be staged with what you have in your property and going through and taking down certain pictures and certain things around your house, cleaning up, just making it, put your mindset as when we're going through houses, put in the mindset of a buyer. If a buyer is coming into this property, into your home, what are they looking for? Not necessarily, obviously you have your taste, but put it in the perspective of what a potential buyer might see out there. And yeah, nobody really wants to do much flooring or paint, or it's all a pain in the butt. You got to move stuff out, especially if you have kids and stuff. Now, if you are willing to do a little bit work, there's like, you could do like little small things. You could do the medium, you could do the full remodel. Not all of them are going to be worthwhile though. So just like a few examples, like if you have old flooring and you need like some weird color paints, like look at behind me, see that like that dark gray? I'd probably paint that if I was going to sell my house. Now, my floors too, they're old. They probably need to be redone. I would do that, but it doesn't necessarily need to be done. But if I didn't do it, I would just take into account, okay, what's the price going to be? What are buyers going to pay for this? Because they're looking at all these properties too. They compare them all. And like a super custom property, like let's say you super customize your house and you have like, for an example, I just saw one that came up in a neighborhood that we've sold a few properties over these past few years. And this thing is decked out. It's like super custom. Like you would walk in there. It's not my style, but it's obviously the seller's style. Now they did price it a bit high, taking into account like all these upgrades that they did do. The homes that we sold in the neighborhood, this home is slightly bigger. Will they get that price? I don't know. If somebody with their same taste comes in in their same style, and they're like, this is it. It's got like a cool, like a little movie theater. It's got a cool wine room, but just all the decor. It's got like shiny stainless steel and lights coming down. I don't know. It's just kind of funky. But that kind of stuff, not necessarily going to get you your money back. But some things, depends on every situation, but a little bit of paint, a little bit of flooring, maybe doing some other little items, little jobs around the house. But it really comes down to, do you have the time? Do you have the patience? Do you actually want to put a little bit of work in to get a little bit of cash on the other end? And it's really specific property to property, what you put into what you get out. There's a few marketing strategy you can use when selling your home. And two of the biggest marketing tools you do have is the condition of your house. That's one thing you can change. You can go in and do some of those slight remodels. What we do is we have, like we mentioned, back to staging, not necessarily, I think every house needs to be staged, but you don't necessarily need to have a professional stager come in and remove everything. What we do is have a free consultation with our stager and go through and help, okay, maybe move this here, maybe get rid of that. Just give some insight into what potentially could be done to get top dollar for your house. The second tool you do have is pricing. Are you going to price it high? Are you going to price it right at the market? Are you going to price it a little low to figure out where you are going to sell your home? Third thing is location. You can't really change that. So that is what it is. But definitely, as we go into the latter part of this year, the market is changing a little bit. Longer market times, more price reductions, more homes pulled off the market that we will likely see come back on the market in the new year. So be aware of that for you buyers out there. As always, I'm Chris Erickson, and if you guys are thinking about making a move, whether it's buying, selling, relocating, investing, whatever the case might be, as a quick reminder, we have a real estate crew right here in San Diego, and we want to start that conversation with you. So all of our contact info is right below. Feel free to reach out because we got your back when making the move here in San Diego.